We're going to have so many what-ifs. You know, we always do after every game, but this one had a couple of what-ifs.
What if there were in the second half?
I don't know what we'd be doing. I think the first one was still the most painful because the Bills really weren't supposed to be in this one. But nonetheless, disappointment haunts the dreams of a city and its football team. There was no magic for the Bills in their fourth straight trip to the Super Bowl. After a great first half, the Bills started playing Santa Claus. First the good stuff, the first half highlights. Jim Kelly and teammates looking for Super Bowl redemption. But on the opening kickoff, you begin to wonder what's going to go on here. Kevin Williams, a 48-yard return to midfield, and the Bills are back on their heels. But the defense stiffens, and they hold the Cowboys to an Eddie Murray 32-yard field goal. 3-0 Dallas on the third fastest score in Super Bowl history. The Bills get right back into it. Kelly swings it out to Thurman Thomas. He picks up 24 yards to the Cowboys' 40-yard line, 7 catches, 52 yards for Thurman. In the first half, there's plenty of good stuff. Steve Christie hits from 54 yards out to tie the game at 3. That's a Super Bowl record. Then the Bills try a different kind of play that we haven't seen too much of. The Kelly shuffle pass to Thurman. He is stripped by James Washington. Darren Woodson recovers, and there's one turnover. The Cowboys get the ball on 3rd and 5. The Bills defense stuffs Emmitt Smith, who had 41 yards on 10 carries in the first half. Eddie Murray comes on, tries a 24-yard field goal. It's good, 6-3 Dallas. Thurman Thomas says, perhaps prophetically, hey, it's my fault, guys, that one's on me. On the Bills' next possession, the drive stalls, but Dave Thomas runs into Chris Moore. The Bills get a first down by penalty, keeping the drive alive. Jimmy Johnson is not happy. 3rd and 3 from the Dallas 10. Kelly to Don Beebe, who takes a big hit, but hangs on and keeps the drive alive. The next play, Thurman Thomas dances in from the 5, 10-6 Bills. The Bills are forced to punt on a later drive, and watch Steve Tasker, who blocked a punt last year, make a great play here. He downs it at the 1-yard line. The Cowboys are up against it. Late in the first half, the Cowboys have driven down the field. Nate Odoms picks off Troy Aikman, and Nate will return the ball 41 yards to the Dallas 48-yard line, and the Bills are in business late in the first half. The drive stalls at the 9-yard line. Steve Christie will trot onto the field, and he will kick this field goal from 28 yards out. It's 13-6 at halftime, and things are looking good. The Bills get the ball to start the second half, and after getting a first down in the second half, things unraveled. On the Bills' 43, third play of the half, Leon Lett strips Thurman Thomas. James Washington picks it up and rambles. 46 yards, touchdown. The game is tied at 13. Just a great return by Washington. Leon Lett redemption for a couple of plays he's better known for that aren't too good. Cowboys next possession. Emmitt Smith takes over. He carries 7 straight times. This one for 13 yards to the Bills' 22. Smith, the game's MVP, at 61 of his 132 yards in that drive. He caps it off with his 15-yard touchdown. Jeff Wright almost had him. 20-13 Cowboys. Thurman knows the handwriting is on the wall. He was out with apparently leg cramps. 3rd and 5. The Bills' 35. Kelly picked off by James Washington again, who returns it to the 35-yard line. The Cowboys move down the field. 4th and goal. Emmitt Smith will walk in from a half-yard out, 27-13. Eddie Murray, who replaced Lynn Elliott earlier this season, adds another field goal to make it. And Thurman, well, that's the kind of day Thurman had right there. Murray adds the field goal to make it 30-13. The Bills' faces tell the story. That score, by the way, is the same score the Bills beat the Chiefs by in the AFC Championship game a week ago. The Bills, unfortunately, joined Denver and Minnesota as 4-time Super Bowl losers. So a tough day all around Western New York for the Bills and everybody here.
And that's painful to look at.
Yeah,
the
it'll
first
be
time
painful
was
for a long time.
Not just painful for that reason. There are some customers of Small World Travel that had a very big problem. We're going to update that story.
Plus, Bills fans working hard during the game. We'll talk to a couple of them.
Emmitt breaks a tackle. 10-5, touchdown!
For some Bills fans, the Bills' loss was a bad ending to a very bad week. Some customers of Small World Travel were left outside the Georgia Dome during game time without any tickets. Channel 2's Wes Goforth has more.
At the Georgia Dome this afternoon, we found many fans who had bought Super Bowl packages through Small World Travel. They got to Atlanta on chartered flights, then were left to fend for themselves.
They promised us a car to begin with. We never got the car. The day before the Super Bowl, we got no tickets. Since we came down here, we have seen nobody from Small World Travel.
How much did you pay for your package?
We paid $1,200.
We paid them Monday. We're very frustrated people. The whole 300 people came down without tickets. Hopefully we'll get them. We don't see any tickets all yet.
And it seems that Bills fans had trouble with more travel agencies than just Small World Travel.
Well, we went through a travel agency in Buffalo called Travel Outlet, and we gave them $1,500 for 2 tickets.
They told you to come on down to Atlanta.
Yeah, they said come on down to Atlanta. We got here in Atlanta and no tickets.
By later today, no one we talked with was able to find tickets for sale at any price. Small World Travel officials could not be found. The customers hope they'll have a flight to return to Buffalo on tomorrow.
It better be there, I hope. Oh, don't say that.
At the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Wes Goforth, Channel 2 News.
Well, with some luck, they all got to see the game on television. Not all Bills fans were glued to TV, though. Many of the Western New York faithful were on the job during the big game. Channel 2's Mary Alice Demler caught up with them tonight.
And the world's ring of focus is on the Georgia Dome in the capital of the Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia.
At kickoff time, many Western New Yorkers had their eyes glued to this picture. But Channel 2 staffers weren't the only ones working during Super Bowl XXVIII. Buffalo's finest, like the officers at Precinct 3, were on duty and ready to protect and serve. Buffalo's Deputy Police Commissioner is a 47-year veteran of the force and has worked during all 4 of the Bills' Super Bowl appearances.
Well, you might listen to it on the radio. Yeah. If we can sneak a little look, we will. We're going to have to be ready to be out there when the game is over.
It was cooking as usual for the guys over at Jim's Steakout. They, of course, had plenty of snack food for the game, a TV set within arm's reach, and plenty of rival fans to keep it interesting.
Yes, I'm a big Bills fan. It's hard because I have to work with some people that are Dallas fans, so I got to hold my ground.
Over at Millard Fillmore Hospital at Gates Circle, devoted fans were not hard to find. They came to work prepared, too. The emergency room staffers were ready to party. And up on the intermediate surgical care unit, we found some angels of mercy with their heads on their work, but their hearts are with their team.
How are you keeping track of the game? How do you know what's going on? Well, just keep popping into patient rooms and listen to them cheer. Well, it's true. You've got a TV in every room. Right. Yep. So we just keep popping in.
And what is it like watching over a whole floor full of infirmed Bills fans?
Heart rates tend to go up during Super Bowls. All the cardiac monitors tend to go up.
Gosh, do they give you a lot of trouble during the game?
No, they're quiet. They don't bother us. They don't ask for pain medications. They don't ask for anything. They want to watch the game. Don't bother us.
Well, what about after?
Then it's mayhem.
In Buffalo, Mary Alice Demler for Channel 2 News.
Never thought of that, Nick. If the heart rate goes up, that could be dangerous to your health.
Of the whole community.
No doubt.
Believe it or not, there was other news around the world today. Oliver North puts the blame on Ronald Reagan.
That's just ahead on Channel 2 News at 11. Plus, Barry tells us what's in the forecast for the coming week.
So the Canadian kickers have been perfect. The end of the half, and a mild surprise at the intermission.
Yeah, so we're going to hear some more about the game. You'll not be surprised at that, I'm sure.
You're a real masochist, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, this time we're going to hear more from some of the players. History probably won't be kind to the Buffalo Bills for the 4th straight year. They are on the wrong end of the Super Bowl. The fact that most expected them to lose doesn't diminish the pain for the team and its followers, especially since they had this game by the throat and let it get away. In the first half, Thurman Thomas scores a touchdown from 4 yards out in the second quarter to give the Bills a 10-6 lead. Thurman 16 carries, 37 yards, and 2 key fumbles. Late in the first half, Troy Aikman is intercepted for the only time of the day. Nate Odoms picks it off and returns it 41 yards to the Dallas 48-yard line, and the Bills were in business at halftime. Steve Christie, the 28-yard field goal to give the Bills a 13-6 halftime lead.
I feel like we let one slip away. I think we were in position at halftime to go out. We maintained some kind of drive in the second half, and I think it's a different ball game.
First possession of the second half, Leon Lett strips Thurman Thomas. James Washington picks it up, returns the fumble, 46 yards for the touchdown to tie the game at 13, and Thurman Thomas took the blame on his shoulders.
Well, yeah, I blame myself. I mean, if I don't fumble that football, it's a different ball game. Hey, things like that happen in life. You know, you have some ups and you have some downs, and that was probably the down part of my career, because I fumbled the ball and James Washington picked it up and returned it for a touchdown. So when you look at it that way, sure, you can blame me, but I'm not going to go out and do anything crazy.
it does happen to the best of them. The Bills go 3 and out, then Emmett Thomas, the game MVP, takes over. The touchdown here from 15 yards out. Jeff Wright had him, couldn't stop him. The Cowboys take a 20-13 lead. They win 30-13.
I feel bad. Hell, I mean, you don't get these chances every day, but you can bet one thing, this football team will work and try to get back again.
We never gave up until the final gun, so we have a lot to be proud of. We've accomplished a lot in this past year. No, we thought we'd make it back. We did. Unfortunate, we didn't come out with a win, but I'll tell you what, you never count us out.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys certainly looking like the team of the 90s. The AFC hasn't won a Super Bowl since 1984 when the Raiders, I think it was, beat the Redskins, I believe.
Yeah, you can say what you want about our team, about Buffalo, but nonetheless, Dallas was very, very good today.
No
they were the better team.
Absolutely. Okay. We're going to hear from a former Buffalo Bill about the game when we come back.
We'll be right back. From 1979 to 1984, he played defensive safety for the Buffalo Bills. And joining us live now is former Bill Jeff Nixon. Jeff, thanks very much for being with us tonight. It's good to see you again. Okay, you watched the game tonight with the rest of us. How well did the Bills play?
Well, you know, in the first half, I think they played excellently. You know, they controlled the ball. They made the big plays. They had everything going for them. And then the second half, it just fell apart. It was very depressing. I know a lot of people are very heartbroken here in Western New York and you know, all over the country, Buffalo Bills fans are you know, saddened by this. But you know, again, we have a lot to be proud of here in Western New York, that a team like this has gone 4 straight Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm. There were some fans talking about the future of Marv Levy. One making the comment, well, I'm going to cancel my season tickets if Levy's still coaching next year. What do you think?
I don't think that's a fair thing to say. You know, this coach has brought this team to the Super Bowl 4 straight times. You know, he's had some unfortunate things happen, but I think he's taken them there. He's gotten them to the big game.
That's right, they are AFC champions.
Right, you know, 26 other teams sat home and watched this game on television, and I'm sure I would have loved to have played in a Super Bowl myself. So.
Now, you're no stranger to injuries. You've had knee injuries. You had something like 5, which is why you quit the game in '84.
Right.
As you looked at Thurman Thomas, apparently, who had some kind of a cramp, Ed Kilgore suggested that maybe he really wasn't hurt, but he was just kind of pouting. Did you get an impression like that yourself?
Well, you know, I'm not going to speculate on that. I know that he was very depressed, you know, after that fumble that they took in for the touchdown. You know, the legitimacy of that, the injury won't be known unless the trainers come out and explain it. But, you know, during the course of a game, when you're running hard and you're playing hard, you can cramp up. That's easy to happen.
Could well have happened. Mm-hmm. Jeff Nixon, thanks very much for joining us live tonight here on Channel 2. And best wishes to you.
Great to see you, Jeff.
It's good to be here.
We're going to talk about Jim Kelly's plans after football. We'll tell you all about them next. So we're going to head back to Atlanta.
And we'll take a look at Super Bowl XXVIII through the eyes of Mark Maddox.
His hometown, same as Ray Guy. High, a wobbler, and a flag is down as the ball bounces out of bounds inside the Dallas 20 for there.
Well, continuing our extended coverage tonight, as you can plainly see, we're back in Atlanta right now, and there's Ed Kilgore standing by. Ed, if there is a heavy in this scenario, it seems to be pointing toward Thurman at the moment. Is that accurate assessment?
That's an accurate assessment, Nick. Yes, number 34 did find his helmet this time, but he is wearing some goat horns sticking right through him. It's not fair to single it out for one guy, but the Super Bowl that nobody wanted wasn't half bad. The Bills up 13-6 at the half, but then the second fumble by Thurman was just a crusher for the Bills as Washington ran it in for the touchdown. The Bills' balloon deflated at that point, and it was Dallas back in control and their football game from then on out. This was really a story of 2 $13 million running backs, one playing with a separated shoulder, the other one coming in complaining a little bit that he didn't get enough respect. Emmitt Smith, tremendous. 32 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns despite the injury. Thurman had a touchdown. He also had 37 yards rushing and 2 enormous fumbles. Some of his teammates talked about the momentum switch after the second one.
Thurman is my teammate. He's my best friend. I'm with him, and if we're out and somebody gives him a hard time, then we're going to deal with it the way we have to deal with it. I'm not going to let anybody pick on Thurman.
Because Thurman Thomas is a hell of a running back, and he's a great team player. So I don't care what you say about it. That's still my back. That's still the best back I've seen, in my opinion.
We as offensive team, we tried to march down the field. We never gave up until the final gun. So we have a lot to be proud of. We've accomplished a lot in this past year. We thought we'd make it back. We did. Unfortunate, we didn't come out with a win. But I'll tell you what, you never count us out.
All right, you hear Jim Kelly's thoughts. I might add here, as Lori Lasowski joins me, that it isn't really fair to throw it all on Thurman Thomas's shoulders. I thought he had a tremendous year, a great AFC Championship game. Normally, he is the guy that makes the Bills go. That was not the case today. Dallas did a great job on him, though. They totally shut him down. And, of course, that fumble was a key. But Leon Lett, let's face it, the guy who normally makes the boner plays, came up with a good one to shake the ball loose and send the Bills really into the doldrums at that point. You had a chance to kind of be down in the around the Bills locker room for the first time, and your experience was such as what?
Well, just watching the players' faces and trying to get a read on just how they are taking this loss as opposed to other losses. And clearly they are very, very disappointed, devastated. Sometimes they even got very angry at reporters who were asking them questions. But many of them are saying, hey, look, we got to come back next year. We got to still do our jobs and not take this as this is the end of their careers. I mean, next year's another year.
Well, that's true. And I mean, you just never know what players will be back or not. Nate Odom's one in particular who told me he thinks he'll be back. But anyway, we're going to be back for some final thoughts a little bit later on. Mike DeGeorge will join us. Also, Wes Goforth will join us for their thoughts here of Super Bowl week. And it has been a very interesting week. We've put in a lot of long hours. And quite frankly, I think it would be well worth it if we could get the Bills to get out on top of one of these
Better
things.
to be here than not be here, even if you lose.
Well, as Marv says, the one way to be sure that you never win a Super Bowl is not get in it. And the Bills have done that for the first time in history. So we'll be back here, Nick, a little bit later on to kind of wrap up our thoughts about Super Bowl XXVIII.
Looking forward to hearing those. Thank you both. Okay, Rich.
Buffalo Bills quarterback Jim Kelly is planning for life after football, but we want to make it clear here he doesn't plan on retiring anytime soon. Kelly and his Channel 2 show Bills Sneak Preview were featured in a pregame report on athletes and coaches who have TV shows. Kelly told Paul McGuire he hopes to become a broadcaster when he finally retires.
What makes you think that you're good enough to be on the networks? I know I'm good enough, but I mean, what makes you think you're good enough?
Well, to personally tell you right now, maybe I'm not quite that good yet. But if you can do it, anybody can do it.
Jim Lampley?
Got
it. For right now, Kelly will continue to hone his skills Sundays at noon during the season right here on Channel 2 with Ed Kilgore, his mentor, no doubt. Bills linebacker Mark Maddox has been spending his free time in Atlanta working for Channel 2. Mark has been taking a behind-the-scenes look at all the Super Bowl hype in Atlanta.
Oh, I better zoom out. Here's Adam signing for a bunch of people. Here's our cutest fan right here. This is our hotel lobby.
Why do you think we're going to kill him?
Because we are. No, why? There's reasons. Why?
You know,
Why?
Because we're the best team in the NFL. And there's no doubt about it. Her father's a Bills fan.
What about some of the players on the team?
Oh, I love all of them.
What do you think of the defense?
Oh, defense is great.
Who's your favorite player on the defense?
Mark Maddox.
Officials of the city of Dallas already are arguing over where to hold a Cowboys victory parade. They're really sure of themselves back. But, what the hell, if you were a Cowboy, that's probably the way you'd think too.
This is Mark Maddox going to be interviewed by NBC, Dick Enberg, and Trumpet.
Come on in, Mark. It's going to be quite exciting.
Ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Northern. Hey, you beat Central. No.
Say hi to the camera.
Hi, Channel 2, West New York.
Thank you, Mark.
We're going to be checking on what Bills fans might be doing right now when we come back. We'll be right back.
Kelly continues to throw underneath. Thomas hit as he takes a hand off, fumbles the ball, and here comes the Cowboys. It's Thomas Everett with one man to beat Pina, and now he's on his way. Don Beebe, the lone Bills, touchdown, Dallas!
Out at Network, Carol Camplin, and they're singing "Show Me the Way to Go Home" or something. Carol, has anybody shown up there tonight?
Oh, they are long gone. I think we're the only ones left besides maybe a few mice in here. Don't tell anybody I said that. In fact, a network employee told me that they've already received calls here from Dallas saying, "We kicked your guys, you know what." But you know, it's true. Bills fans really did take a hard hit today. They really wanted this one from the gut, saying there's no way we could walk away from this thing 4 times in a row. But one thing that sets the Bills and their fans apart is their sheer resilience. One said to me, "All you can do is laugh. We're Buffalonians. We know how to take it." Now, during the second half, you could surely see the change in attitude as smiles and cheers turned to frowns and near silence. But fans told us despite their disappointment, they are still behind their team.
I want to tell the Bills, you guys did a great job. Don't feel bad about coming home. You guys did an excellent job. Good luck, and we love you. That's all I have to say.
Definitely next year we're in there.
It's the magic number.
It is.
Absolutely.
It better be.
Well, actually,
Why couldn't it be us? Why couldn't we be partying now?
1 out of 4 would have been nice. Oh,
Thurman Thomas, choke artist. Oh, well, we'll be back.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. We're going for 5. 1 more year. So next year, we're taking it all the way. And we'll be patient for it. Next year.
5 and 95. 5 and 95. Don't forget it.
Well, no major rowdiness here tonight. The Buffalo Police did have a paddy wagon parked outside that they didn't have to use. So the Bills fans really showed they are winners here, and they feel the same way about their team. Rich?
Yeah, thanks, Carol. I kind of bet on that there wouldn't be any rowdiness tonight from Bills fans.
Very quiet.
That's
Very
right.
quiet.
Good, solid city of good neighbors.
And, you know, the truth of the matter is, news doesn't do a better job than anyone else in preparing for these kinds of eventualities. We were all set for big celebrations, so we have our live trucks set up at various locations, and they're still there. There's one, for instance, out on Elmwood Avenue. And I know that Steve Brown is still out there. And I suspect, Steve, that there was no more celebration now than there was a while back, is it?
No, but one thing interesting has happened as the game was winding down and the obvious outcome had been etched in stone for this year. People had started moving away from the Elmwood area, and it started getting quiet in the neighborhood. In the last 20 to 25 minutes since last we spoke, it's gotten a lot busier down here. I don't wish to presuppose what people are doing inside the various taverns in here, but I think they may be chemically altering their attitude at this particular time. So it's gone from a quiet Elmwood Strip to a little bit less than quiet, actually quite active for a Sunday night. People here were ready to celebrate a Bills victory, something they hoped for a great deal. There was a woman from Buffalo who said she knew that the Bills would lose, but a man from Buffalo said the big name guys didn't have a big game day, and a Syracuse man that said there's nothing wrong with finishing second, except in the eyes of somebody who owned a Bills sweatshirt. I think we have a piece of videotape. We can show you exactly what it is that we mean by that. That's what they did with their sweatshirt. As they were passing through Bidwell and Elmwood, they just discarded it out the door and left it in the street for the cars to run over it. We have fetched it if the person would like it back, and I think they may in the morning. You can call Channel 2 and we'll get it back to you. Nick?
Unless they got too chemically altered in the meantime.
That's correct.
Steve, thank you very much. Okay, the fans. It has been a roller coaster week around Western New York. First, the anticipation of the 4th straight Super Bowl appearance for the Buffalo Bills. Then tonight, the 4th straight defeat. Some final thoughts now. We're going to begin with Ed Kilgore and the Channel 2 sports team in Atlanta. Ed?
Thanks very much, Nick. And disappointment, there is no better word to describe it, but these Bills, as we all know, are very resilient, and already some of them were looking ahead to next year.
Stand up like a man. We lost to a very good team today, but again, like I said, keep going until you get it right, I guess.
I sure didn't help things out, and to the point to where I'm pretty embarrassed. But hey, what are you going to do? All I can do is just work in the off season and hopefully get a chance next year.
I feel bad. Hell, you don't get these chances every day, but you can bet one thing: this football team will work and try to get back again.
And I tell you what, I wouldn't bet against them being in Miami West for Super Bowl XXIX, but at some point, it has to have a psychological effect. We said that last year and they came back, but they're pretty down again.
Oh, they are, and the players are getting older and everybody else is closing the gap quite a bit. Just some observation on this week. First of all, I think the city of Atlanta deserves a big round of applause. They're on their best behavior. It's a beautiful place. This stadium is awesome. It's beautiful. Awesome. Colors, floor, ceiling, everything. Secondly would be the Super Bowl itself. The NFL has created quite a monster here. You know, the game's almost anticlimactic, and you've got to experience it sometime to come to a Super Bowl and live the week of activity. And third, the Dallas people are the cockiest people on earth. The sportscasters, the players, the team, everything. Unfortunately, they earn the right to be that for another year tonight.
That they did. I think that's pretty well said. And over on the other side, as we come over here, we have Lori Lasowski along with Mike DeGeorge.
Yeah.
Lori, what do you think?
Speaking of cocky, Wes, there was a sign that said, you lost 4, deal with it, Buffalo. Yeah. People from Dallas, yelling at us in the hallways. We know we're going to be the butt of jokes, but as you said, this is the Super Bowl. We are here. We've been here the last 4 years, and I'd rather be standing here than sitting at home and not watching Buffalo play in it. So, hey, at least we're here, and they're an excellent team. We have a lot to be proud of. A lot of the fans said that. I expected to hear some more nasty fans saying, I can't believe this. But no, they were very supportive of the team. They still are, and I'm sure you've seen that too, Mike.
I don't know if there's any question about that, Laura, and I apologize for the bad voice a little bit. Again, I think it's frustrating in the sense that the big players for the Bills unfortunately don't make the big plays in the Super Bowl, and we saw it again tonight, and it's been that way in the last 4 Super Bowls. Kent Hull said, and he summed it up pretty well, it's frustrating, it hurts a lot, because the Bills were in a position to win this game at halftime, and it just got away from them at the start of the second half.
Sure did. I mean, that's what we were sitting there saying, boy, this is our year at halftime, and it all fell apart.
That it did, and I think the weight of 3 prior Super Bowl defeats is now starting to take its toll on this football team, because I think you could just sense after everything was in control in that first half, and it did get away from the Bills with that big fumble. Now, the game was only tied at that point, 13-13, but you could really sense that everything got away from the Bills at that point. Will they be back? A lot of it has to do with free agency. Some players coming up. Nate Odom, certainly, Darryl Talley. So, again, if Ralph Wilson makes the commitment, I think there's a good chance this team will be back if it stays healthy. Let's get some of our photogs in here. These guys worked hard. Bob Velasquez, Andy DeSantis, Bob Mancuso. They were down here. These are the guys behind the scenes that worked so hard all week to bring you all the pictures, and they just did a fantastic job. Mike's voice is shot because he yelled at them all week. Of course, they probably would say the same about me because we do get a little intense at times. But anyway, I want to thank you guys. I thought you all did a great job down here, and maybe with a little bit of luck, we'll be able to go down to Miami for Super Bowl 29 and bring you great people back in Buffalo some better news. But from Atlanta, it was a bad story tonight. The Dallas Cowboys winning it by the score of 30-13. The Bills creating history by winning or going to 4 straight Super Bowls. Any words for you guys? I guess we're out of time. Again, thanks everybody, and we send it back to you, Nick, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You sure will, Ed. It may have been a bad story, but it was well told because of your good work down there. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you will forgive a newcomer's perspective, it's been one heck of a week. Because of the Bills, we've been the focus of a nationwide attention. That was good. And the Bills lost the game. That was bad. Now we do what a proud people always do. We shake it off and we get on with our lives. Ours is a city in transition. We're poised between a remarkable past we can't change and a burgeoning future we can't predict. It's an exciting time. There's a Super Bowl to be won in every neighborhood in Western New York, day by day, and we'll be reporting on it. That's challenge enough to keep all of us busy until the Bills win their way to Joe Robbie Stadium next January.
From my perspective, Nick, this was a painful loss for the team and the city. It's only a game, but the Bills carried the hopes and the dreams of a region with them when they went out onto that field tonight. We're a city that longs for respect, for affirmation, for self-esteem, a city of honest people doing honest work by the sweat of their brow. We'd like a little respect for that. We long to show the world on that broad green stage in Georgia that we are America's city, and the Bills are truly America's team. But losing the game has nothing to do with who we are. The sun will come up tomorrow, according to Barry. We'll still be here. We'll still be the city of good neighbors, the place that has been a wonderful home to so many of us for so long. It'll still be the city that pursues its dreams. So indeed, we lost the game, Nick, but we haven't lost our soul. And that's what's important.
And indeed, the sun will come up tomorrow.
Nice
Good night,
show.
everyone.
Good night.